Pat made the point that you have a size 10 shoe and you used it on Morgan the last few weeks. What kind of motivational tactics have you used on him?
Again, like any player, I think sometimes guys need, an extra little push, and John works hard every day. I have a size 11 shoe, by the way, for the record.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's no different than any other player, right? I mean, I think at some point, not that he felt like he had arrived in any way, shape, or form. I just wanted to make sure that John was practicing and living up to his standard, and I wanted to make sure he knew that there was still a lot out there for him. And to John's credit, he reacted, and he's doing a nice job.
What's he doing better now than he wasn't doing?
Again, it's not that he was doing anything bad. It's just, I think, the daily standard of how to prepare and how to practice, and I'm not upset with anything. I think at times, we talk about taking risks all the time, and part of taking a risk is how to mitigate that risk and how to handle that risk. And those are some of the things that we were looking for John to make sure that he had control of.
I was going to say, with John, was that anything routine-based or anything prepared, focus-wise? Was it all just in that?
Listen, John's doing a great job. I'm proud of how hard he's working. I don't want you to misread what the size 11 shoe really meant. I'm happy with how hard John is working and what he's doing for us this season.
What's it been like having him and Deslin, especially just guys that you know them, they know you, and they know the room to carry out throughout this year?
I think it's been great because there's times where you have to turn up the heat and there's times where you back off. And when I turn the heat up, they understand why and exactly where I'm coming from. It's just holding a standard of the room. There's a quote out there that says, the standard is not what you preach, it's what you're willing to tolerate, right? And when they understand when something's starting to slip, then we're not going to tolerate it, and they all have my backs, which is great.
Have you ever seen them turn up the heat without you having to say something?
I have, and that's a great thing, like you said, about having a veteran room with those two and Kalijah and Haba and a number of guys that have been around us a long time, which is phenomenal for the young guys to see that because it's going to be their turn before you know it.
Has this last week been a little bittersweet for you, given those guys and how much time you spent with them?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's really hard to imagine walking into a room without those guys in the room. I arrived when Deslin arrived. When I came back here to Pittsburgh, me and Deslin arrived at the same time. He was an early grad. This is our 6th season together, and he has seen the room grow the entire time. I'm going to miss them all dearly, but whether they like it or not, they're stuck with me for life. So this is not goodbye. This is talk to you soon.
I know the focus is on Miami, but do you ever take a second to kind of look back with all these guys, possibly playing in the last game and look at what this group has accomplished, these seniors?
You do and you don't. I mean, that's the thing about us in a routine. You get done on Saturday and you move on to with the task at hand on Sunday. But there's certainly times that we'll relive a memory before a meeting or here or there. But we really have a tremendous challenge ahead of us with a very talented Miami team. And their record does not reflect what they are capable of. I think everyone in this room knows that, and anyone who knows anything about Miami knows that. And we have a challenging task ahead of us, and that's where all our focus is.
Deslin's charity work does not go unnoticed, and he's been getting nationally recognized for everything. Pat even has made comments that he's out on Sundays, at a school, at a church, wherever it is. Does that rub off on the other guys? Have you noticed that his teammates and maybe the locker room picking up on what he's putting down with all of that?
It does, and you can go back to Cal Adamitis, and you can really go back to some of the foundations with Coach's program. I mean, it's one of his pillars really is to give back, and relationships and getting degrees and winning, all those things really are the foundation of Coach Narduzzi's program. And Dez is just the kind of person that has taken it and run with it. Kalijah does a lot of great things in the community. Dayon Hayes is involved in things. There's a lot of people that are involved in things around the community, and Deslin is a great focal point for that.
Miami, do they have any max protect that's you have to worry about?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it's depending on which quarterback is in there. They run similar plays. However, with Garcia and, with 11, 9, and 13, you have 3 different styles of quarterbacks. 11 is extremely fast. Van Dyke is a tremendous thrower. He tried to go in the Florida State game, as you guys know, and didn't finish the game. Mario said yesterday that there's a good chance that he's going to be playing. He's outstanding. And Garcia can get in there, and he can get on streaks as well. So a lot of it depends on which quarterback is in there. They have an enormous O-line. Their guard is listed at 350, and I think that may be a gift looking at him on tape. He's big, but he can move. That's the thing is I think he might be, Jerry, from looking at him on tape, unless the other guys are small. And I know a lot of these guys from recruiting.
Right.
And there's a lot of speed. There's a ton of talent. There's a lot of pride. And the way they played in the second half of that Clemson game, you tip your hat and realize these kids aren't folding the tents. They have a ton on the line. They have a chance to extend their season against us. we're really going to have to dot our I's and cross our T's.
I know it's been over a year, but what did Tyler Van Dyke do well against you guys last year in that game? What did you see from him as like a younger quarterback who kind of burst onto the scene really against the defense?
Right. Yeah. A tremendous quick release, great heady decisions. Never really panicked. Great pocket presence. He's a really, really good quarterback, and we have a ton of respect for him. He can move certainly well enough to evade the rush. He's really got a lot of things that you look for in a good quarterback.
Was Duke getting rid of the ball pretty quick? Last Saturday, he didn't obviously get as many sacks.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes when depending on quarterback, obviously we put a premium on sacks, right, Jerry? I think we're third in the country right now, and we had a good streak. And part of it is, what's the score? Do you have a lead? Or are you fighting in a close game? Some of those things play into it as well. That was part of it. They were trying to run the ball, and at the end of the day, we found a way to win. And
Pat had good things to say about Sean Fitzsimmons on the scout team.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him and some of the younger guys that you've seen grow this year?
Yeah, I'm happy with Fitzsimmons, certainly. I mean, he takes everything really seriously, and that's why he's getting better. Sam Okunlola has tremendous twitch, and he takes things extremely serious. He loves to learn. Jimmy Scott, physical, has Pat Jones type of traits. I'm not going to compare him to Pat Jones, but he's got some things that remind me of Pat. There's a lot. Dorian is still continuing to evolve. Elliott, though he's traveling with us and getting some reps, he's still in that developmental phase and doing some nice things. So there's a lot of good things I'm seeing from those young guys that I'm excited about for the future.
We talked to Pat a couple weeks ago about Haba. He mentioned that scouts talked to him about the almost sack, the almost strip, the almost whatever it may be. Do you evaluate that for your line and for your room, and how much do you weigh into that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, we're always looking for, how could that almost have been a sack? Was it, because if you can get a kid an average of a sack a game, the kid's going to probably be a millionaire. That's the reality of things, right? That's the truth. So you're always looking for how you can shave that fraction of a second off or get that extra inch to either get the ball, get the quarterback's arm, turn the corner, react to the quarterback's, evading the rush. We're always evaluating how we could have turned those almost sacks into sacks, and it varies for Haba. Haba's done a nice job getting pressure on the quarterback. He didn't get on the streak that he had hoped, but he's playing really, really good football.